What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I got another exciting video for you today because we're going to be taking a look at some more action figures, and this is from the X-Men 97 series of the Epic Heroes series of action figures produced by Hasbro. This is a relatively new line of toys. They're roughly 4 inches tall. Previously, they had done the sort of Marvel Legends 3 3/4 inch action figures, which I collected quite a few of, including characters from the X-Men. However, in spite of the fact that they had really fantastic retro style packaging and so forth, they typically only had between 5 and 7 points of articulation. Whereas these new ones, these Epic Heroes figures, have quite a bit more. They have knee articulation, elbow articulation, more shoulder articulation than the previous ones. And just in general, I think it's a much better series in terms of overall articulation. And I am impressed with this particular set because the paint deco and so forth is considerably better than some of the other ones I had seen previously. So I'm very happy that I was able to pick this up. So I was able to order this from Target's website. It came out to roughly $45, which when you break it down in terms of getting 5 characters in the set is not bad. I'm not crazy about this packaging style. This is sort of this plastic-free packaging. So there's no plastic window or anything to kind of protect the figures from tampering. But everything seems to be intact in this particular instance, and so I'm fairly happy with it. But again, I don't really like the style of it. I do like the rendering of the characters here, and I also did a similar thing on the side of the package, and also on the top of the package. You can see the sort of cartoon rendering of this. X-Men 97 will be a series coming out either towards the end of this year or early in 2024. So that'll be an animated series featuring these characters. So should be interesting to see what that's like. On the back of the package, you can see a depiction of the characters in their action figure form. I would have actually liked to have more of the cartoon stuff on the back, maybe a larger scene featuring all the characters, but it does show them with their accessories, so that's actually pretty helpful in terms of figuring out which accessory goes with which figure. So that might actually come in handy because, as you can see in the box, the accessories are all separately put into this little package. And although it's kind of obvious which accessories go with some of the characters, not necessarily with others. So that imagery on the back actually helps out. So enough about the package. Let's go ahead and get this thing open and take a look at the details up close. Okay, so we got these figures out of the package now. And as you can see over here, I've got my Marvel Legends 3 3/4 inch action figures because we're going to do some comparisons later on. But we'll save that for a little bit later in the video. Let's take a look at the figures themselves. We'll start over here with Storm. And I have affixed all the accessories to these figures. So you can see she came with this back portion of her cape, and also this sort of yellow kind of lightning bolt accessory. So overall, figure looks great. Really like the mohawk look for the character and this all white costume. So yeah, it looks really awesome. I'm actually fairly impressed with the paint details as well. I was a little wary as to whether or not these would actually hold up by comparison to the Marvel Legends versions, but they actually seem pretty good. Head sculpt looks great. And overall, I'm just very happy with this. And in terms of articulation, you kind of have to detach the cape portion in order to fully articulate the arms. But as you can see, she can extend out. Also gets 360-degree rotation. The elbows will bend. You also get a side-to-side pivot. At the hip, she can kick out. Also gets bending at the knee. And also there's a rotation at the knee as well. So yeah, quite a bit of articulation. Certainly far superior to anything that comes in those 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends figures. So very happy overall with these, and I have a feeling I will collect more of these, particularly if they do more X-Men characters. So we'll see what happens. Next up, we've got Cyclops, and as you can see, he comes with sort of like this bolt of energy coming from his eyes. I'm not too crazy about that as an accessory. I think it's kind of goofy looking. And it is kind of hard to get on and off of his head. So I think for the most part, I'm going to leave that off. But overall, I think the paint details, head sculpt, and everything looks really good on this. Similar articulation to Storm in most cases. very much in keeping with the rest of this line. There's no waist articulation, so that's kind of unfortunate. But in terms of overall articulation for the rest of the figure, it's pretty good. And again, paint details and everything on this look excellent as well. So very happy with this version of Cyclops. So head rotation also on all these figures. So looks very cool. Next up, we got Gambit. And this is the only version that I have of this character in my entire collection too. So very happy to have this. I think they did a good job in terms of the head sculpt, overall details on this. Comes with a sort of like vinyl part to his jacket. And it comes with this accessory here. So again, kind of cheesy. I think for the most part, a lot of these accessories, I'm probably not going to use them very much. But overall sculpting on the figure looks great. And again, similar articulation to the other figures. So looks really excellent. Next up, we got Wolverine. And he actually stands slightly shorter than the other characters, which is appropriate for the way the character appears in the comic book. So again, this accessory is really cheesy. I think it's totally unnecessary. So I probably won't be using that at all. Nice details on the claws. And again, I'm fairly impressed with the overall paint deco. And very happy to have a version of this character in this particular costume as well. So looks really cool. And then last over here, we got Rogue. And as you can see, again, really good detail in terms of the paint deco. Head sculpt looks really great. Again, kind of another cheesy accessory. Probably won't be using that at all. So yeah, we can just remove that. One thing I can say is that you have the choice, certainly, of whether or not going to use the accessories or not. Because they are removable, you can just decide for yourself whether or not you want to include them. Again, similar articulation to the other figures, and the paint deco and everything on this figure looks really good as well. So very happy overall with this collection, and definitely worth the price. Again, it was like $45. For this entire collection of 5 figures. And in terms of comparisons, the one other figure that I have from this series is my Spider-Man figure. This is also from the Epic Heroes series, and you can see in terms of scale and everything, all of these kind of work together. And also, if you're a collector of 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures, again, this is the Mandalorian. So again, looking very much in the same scale. So if you have 3 3/4 inch vehicles and so forth, all of them should be fairly compatible with this new line of figures. There may be a few exceptions where the particular figure is a little bit too tall to fit inside the vehicle, but I think for the most part, there's not going to be too many discrepancies. So very happy to have Rogue in my collection. Now, in terms of comparisons with the Marvel Legends 3 3/4 inch action figures, I can show you side by side the 2 versions of Wolverine. And this one also has the sort of brown and yellow costume as opposed to the newer version, which has the blue and yellow. The main difference is that the newer figure has much better articulation than this other one. And even though I really like the overall presentation of these figures, particularly the packaging style and so forth, they have that sort of retro look. I believe going forward, I'm probably going to stick with these Epic Heroes figures, just in terms of how much better they are in terms of articulation. So that's a comparison with the Wolverine figure. And then next we can take a look at Storm. So again, different costume for Storm. So you can see side by side, this newer version of Storm stands just slightly taller, and definitely a different look for the character. But I'm fairly happy with both versions. I think they're very cool. But again, I'd say the new version is superior just because the articulation is so much better. So, and I can show you, I do have some other characters from the Marvel Legends line that are X-Men. So I have the Iceman figure. I also have Magneto. You can see this figure. And I also have Dark Phoenix. So I have collected quite a few of the Marvel Legends figures that are part of the X-Men comic book series. But again, going forward, just because this new series is much more exciting in terms of the overall articulation, I think that's where I'm going to stick with going forward. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more reviews of action figures in the future, think about subscribing to my channel, because I will be covering more of this kind of material in upcoming videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.